Greetings, everybody. Welcome back in another entertaining and interesting video. When it comes to learning the common expressions, idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs, collocations, metaphor, sayings, and all kind of proverbs in English, these are the kind of currency that is quite common in English, and we need to learn them in stacks, in collection, in groups. It doesn't make sense to learn one expression a day. We just need to understand the anatomy and the distribution and how they use these kind of expressions. We need to understand how they use these expressions in common conversation in English, not to produce them solely, but to be able to understand and synthesize them when they are said. So for today, we have this list of expressions we'll go through, and hopefully they're going to be very entertaining, and I assure you, there are some of the most common expressions in English. The first expression is better late than never. Better late than never أن تكون متأخرا في حضورك أفضل من أن لا تأتي نهائيا. Better late than never. We have so many occasions for this particular expression. For example, Muhammad just failed to come in time. He came late. Better late than never. It is better to arrive late than to never arrive. And it can be said by itself. That means the expression can be said by itself. To bite the bullet. We often hear this expression so commonly in media and news, to bite the bullet. To bite the bullet is to undergo some kind of things that are inevitable, that will consequentially happen to you, and to accept any kind of consequences out there. So we need to bite the bullet and do the project. He bit the bullet and accepted his final results. Break a leg is a very common expression for people who are just kickstarting or off to start a new project. So we say break a leg, which means good luck. So if you hear this expression, it just means good luck, but not to break somebody's leg. When I was back in the United States, I used to hear the word, let's call it a day. Let's call it a day. And let's call it a day means let's stop working for today and just move our projects to the next day. So it's not to cancel something, but just to postpone it to the next day. Let's call it today. Let's finish our work for tonight or for this day and then just move to the next day. To cut somebody some slack is to stop criticizing somebody so much. For example, you hear one of your friends talking about Jack, and you tell your friend, just cut him some slack. That means just stop criticizing him. Just cut him some slack. Cutting corners is a very common expression in English. And it just means to do something in a poor way or poorly just because you want to finish work. Or in Iraqi Arabic we say شغل الشربت, which means that he's not doing his work properly. He's just cutting corners. He's just trimming corners. He's cutting corners. So he's not doing his work. Easy does it. Easy does it as it means to slow down when you're doing something. Easy does it. You notice or you observe one of your friends doing something very fast, so you say, easy does it. To get out of hand, remember, it's not to get out of the hand unless you're specifically referring to somebody, saying the whole situation got out of the Prime Minister's hand. But you have to be very specific with the phrasing of the expression by saying, got out of hand. The whole situation of COVID-19 in Iraq just got out of hand because of people's carelessness. To get something out of your system, let's imagine that your body or your psyche or your mentality or your mind is a combination of systems that work in unity, and there's some kind of pressing thing on you and you just need to get it out of the system. So that's pretty much the meaning of getting something out of your system, which means to get rid of it because it's not wanted and it's not likable and it's just causing you lots of pain. For example, this is a situation where Jack talks about sort of demonstrations, and he says 90% of people who just went out for demonstrations are students. So we kind of take this with a grain of salt and we say, are you sure? So my friend approaches me and says, give him the benefit of the doubt. That means just trust him on what he is saying right now. These are very common expressions. One way you can internalize them and understand them is to go to a website called Juglish. And from this website, you will notice that lots of people actually using these expressions. So what you need to do is just to write this expression in the search bar and notice 7 to 10 to 20 people saying this expression. They are very common expressions, and notice how they say them. Repeat these kind of expressions so many times, like let's say 50 times for each one of these expressions, to the point that you understand how they function and how they are used and incorporated in the English sentences. And that's how you're going to be able to use them in your daily English. Have a blessed day and see you soon, inshallah. مدرب اللغة وليد خالد.